Good morning. I'm Dr. Himani, postgraduate resident of anesthesia in GGS Medical College, Faridkot, and I'm going to present my poster on anesthetic implications in acute fatty liver of pregnancy. Acute fatty liver of pregnancy is a rare and fatal complication with incidence of 1 to 3 cases per 10,000 pregnancies. It is an obstetric emergency that usually develops in the third trimester of pregnancy or early postpartum period, which is characterized by acute hepatic failure secondary to fatty infiltration of the liver, and anesthetists are an important part of the team involved in the management of such patients during peri-op care and in ICU. So we are hereby reporting a case of acute fatty liver of pregnancy who was successfully managed in ICU. Case report. A 22-year-old full-term primary gravida presented to emergency with altered sensorium and an episode of seizure in the morning. Patient had history of mild abdominal pain, nausea and headache for 2 days. There was no other significant medical, surgical or obstetric history. On admission, her vitals were BB 180 by 120, heart rate 88 per minute. She was afebrile and had no icterus. Fetal heart sounds were present. Ultrasound showed single viable fetus. Lab investigations showed deranged LFTs, deranged RFTs and leukocytosis, and there were traces of proteins in the urine. Emergency LACS was done under GA with presumptive diagnosis of eclampsia. Intra-op period was uneventful. A live female child was born with a GAR score of 3 and was shifted immediately to the NICU in intubated state. Patient was shifted to ICU in intubated state in view of pre-op altered mental status and deranged LFTs, poor respiratory efforts and ABG showing pH 7.28, PCO2 18.2, PO2 208, bicarb 8.7 and base excess of 15.8 milliequivalents per liter. On ICU arrival, her vitals were BP 150 by 100, pulse rate 98 per minute, saturation 100% on venti and remained stable during her stay in ICU. Mechanical ventilation was initiated on SIMV mode with tidal volume of 350 ml, 40% FiO2 and pressure support of 12 with PEEP 5. Sedation and analgesia were ensured with midaz and fentanyl infusion. Medicine and neurology consultations were taken and NCCT head and MRI were unremarkable. Ultrasonography showed normal sized liver with raised echo texture suggesting fatty infiltration. LFTs, RFTs deteriorated further in ICU post LACS. Urine output started decreasing. Population profile also showed derangement for which 4 units of FFP were transfused. Patient had repeated episodes of hypoglycemia of blood glucose 40 mg per deciliter or below post-op. Patient was treated with 25% dextrose infusion followed by continuous dextrose 10% infusion with RBS monitoring. Clinical diagnosis of acute fatty liver of pregnancy was made according to Swansea criteria and patient gradually improved with supportive care in ICU including broad spectrum antibiotics, fluid support, mechanical ventilation and correction of complications like hypoglycemia. Patient was gradually weaned off from mechanical ventilation within 48 hours post-op. LFTs and RFTs start improving from day 4 in ICU and patient was shifted from ICU to ward after 8 days in hemodynamically stable condition. So these are the investigations before delivery. HB 11.5, TLC 15,000, platelet around 1,51,000, RFTs 103, 4.3 of GAT. All these investigations are worsened on day 2 and gradually improved on day 4. So, acute fatty liver of pregnancy was first described in 1934 by Stader and Cadden as acute yellow atrophy of the liver and was initially thought to be fatal. Precise pathogenesis of AFP is not clear. Proposed hypothesis is inadequate activity of mitochondrial long chain 3-hydroxyacetyl coenzymate dehydrogenase enzyme, which results in accumulation of free fatty acids in the liver. It usually presents in the third trimester of pregnancy with the non-specific symptoms of nausea, malaise, vomiting, headache, epigastric pain and jaundice, which leads to rapidly developing liver dysfunction, DIC, hypoglycemia and hepatic encephalopathy. Due to its variable presentation, diagnosis is usually delayed or missed. So the clinical diagnosis is made using Swansea criteria, which includes at least 6 or more of the following findings are required in the absence of another cause: vomiting, abdominal pain, polydipsia, polyuria, encephalopathy, elevated bilirubin of more than 14 micromoles per liter, hypoglycemia of less than 4 millimoles per liter, elevated urea of more than 340 micromoles per liter, leukocytosis, ascites or bright liver on ultrasound scan, elevated transaminases, elevated ammonia, renal impairment, coagulopathy, and microvascular steatosis on liver biopsy. Acute fatty liver has to be differentiated from other hepatic disorders of pregnancy, which include HELLP syndrome, obstetric cholestasis, preeclamptic liver dysfunction, and hyperemesis gravidarum with liver dysfunction. So how to differentiate? HELLP syndrome includes elevated aspartate aminotransferase levels, in addition to its low platelet count and hemolysis. Obstetric cholestasis includes pruritus and elevated transaminase levels and the bile acid levels in second and third trimester. Preeclamptic liver dysfunction includes elevated liver enzymes or bilirubin levels, in addition to it hypertension and proteinuria after 20 weeks of gestation. And hyperemesis gravidarum with liver dysfunction includes elevated liver enzyme or bilirubin level, persistent vomiting after 1 week during first or second trimester. So, the confirmatory diagnosis is by the liver biopsy, which shows swollen pale hepatocytes and intrahepatic fat lobules, but liver biopsy is rarely performed due to risk of procedure. The management is mainly supportive and similar to that of the hepatic failure from other causes. The recent studies suggest management is improving, with 60% of the women admitted in ICU and mortality is less than 2% or 5 cases per 1 lakh in their case series of 57 patients. The prompt delivery is recommended to avoid maternal deterioration and intrauterine death. Supportive care including fluid management, management of glucose levels, and correction of coagulopathy in ICU is usually required. Sepsis occur in 50% of the patients and is the major cause of morbidity and mortality. So prophylactic antibiotics are needed. Vitamin K and fresh frozen plasma may be needed if coagulopathy ensues. Acute fatty liver of pregnancy is usually self-limiting, but liver transplantation may be needed if fulminant hepatic failure occurs. Future pregnancies should be discussed, including uncertain recurrence risk, and in case the immediate cesarean section and management of patient in critical care helped us to save the mother as well as baby. The risk of regional versus general anesthesia for acute fatty liver of pregnancy. The use of regional anesthesia for the labor and cesarean is often debated because of the risk of rapid deterioration of coagulopathy and the potential risk of spinal or epidural hematoma. General anesthesia poses risk because of the hepatic dysfunction, worsening ICP, and higher risk associated with the airway management. So decision needs to be individualized depending on the presenting symptoms and investigations. To conclude, acute fatty liver of pregnancy is an underdiagnosed disease and should be kept in differential diagnosis of pregnant females coming with deranged liver and renal function tests with episodes of hypoglycemia. It is an uncommon life-threatening disease with variable presentation, so early detection with advancement in critical care management have changed the acute fatty liver of pregnancy from being highly fatal complication to a treatable entity. These are the references.